Next on CTN News.
This tank car is used for training purposes.
Local first responders practiced what to do in the event of a hazmat incident involving a train. Plus, another roadblock for motorists. Find out which stretch of roadway you'll want to avoid next week. But first,
well, it is inevitable that emerald ash borer eventually is going to spread to other parts of the state.
A community meeting following the discovery of emerald ash borer in Anoka County. That tops CTN News this Friday, May 1st, 2015. Thank you for joining us. A pesky critter has invaded Anoka County, leaving its mark on the ash trees.
We're, of course, talking about the emerald ash borer. The invasive beetle was recently discovered in an ash tree on private property in Ham Lake. The county is under emergency quarantine, and soon it'll be a formal quarantine. CTN's Jenny Yu explains what that means for residents.
Yes, we have a couple. It's a pair of ash trees that are roughly 20 to 21 years of age.
For Sheila Reynolds, the emerald ash borer's arrival means she'll have to keep a close eye on her favorite trees.
We would be very sad because I do admire this pair of ash trees. We bought them together.
This tree has likely been in Ham Lake for decades, but soon it'll have to come down after neighbors notice something odd.
The person who owned the property noticed that something was happening with the trees, contacted us, and we came and looked at it and were able to confirm it was emerald ash borer.
Mark Abrahamson is an entomologist for the Minnesota Department of Agriculture.
The larvae tunnel inside the tree and they'll eventually kill it.
He says Anoka County residents must be aware of how an emerald ash borer quarantine affects them.
So that means that there are regulations preventing people from moving things that could carry emerald ash borers. So that means ash wood, hardwood, firewood, which oftentimes will have ash wood mixed in with it.
And just because it looks healthy on the outside doesn't mean it does on the inside. Entomologists say it could take up to 4 years for visible damage.
If your tree is heavily infested, you'll notice impacts to the canopy. The canopy will look thin. You have woodpeckers that are attacking the tree. They like to eat the emerald ash borer larvae. You might also see the bark cracking open to reveal tunneling underneath the bark on the surface of the wood.
Since spring of 2011, the city of Coon Rapids has been taking preventative action by cutting down ash trees in poor condition.
It's encouraging to feel like perhaps there has been a difference made here in Minnesota, and what we're doing is buying time for all the parts of the state that aren't infested yet and hopefully won't be for a long time.
In Anoka County, Jenny Yu, CTN News.
A formal quarantine will likely be in effect June 15th. Until then, the public can send their comments to the MDA. We have more information on our website at ctnstudios.com. Some residents in the city are planting new trees in honor of Arbor Day. People who ordered trees as part of the annual Arbor Day sale picked them up this morning at the Public Works Garage. This year there were several new varieties of apple trees, plum trees, and blueberry trees, in addition to other staples like maple, lilac, and black cherry. The city forester sells the trees at a reduced cost each spring to help residents spruce up their yards.
A Coon Rapids man has been sentenced in a crash that killed a Champlain Park High School student. Late last week, 25-year-old Michael Van Wagner was sentenced to 9 years in prison. He previously had pleaded guilty to 2 counts of criminal vehicular operation. Witnesses say he was traveling an estimated 60 miles per hour on Highway 252 last July when he plowed into the back of a car that was stopped and waiting to turn at 73rd Avenue. The driver of that car, 16-year-old Jason McCarthy of Brooklyn Center, died 1 week later from his injuries. Investigators say Van Wagner had no insurance and was driving on a revoked license.
A former youth volunteer died over the weekend just 2 days before he faced a court trial on child sex abuse charges. 46-year-old Chad Gahan of Ramsey was found dead Sunday afternoon at the Elm Creek Park Reserve in Dayton. The Hennepin County Medical Examiner says he died from a single gunshot wound to the head and lists his death as a suicide. Gahan was charged with sexually abusing 5 boys. The alleged abuse occurred at his home, his cabin, the Coon Rapids YMCA, and the Anoka County Airport between 1995 and 2012. Gahan had a private pilot's license and provided flights to young people interested in aviation. He also volunteered with the Big Brothers Big Sisters program between 1989 and 1993.
Emergency railroad track repairs disrupted traffic in 2 different areas of Coon Rapids this week. The biggest impact was felt with the closure of Hanson Boulevard on Monday morning. Crews worked all week to make the necessary repairs to the double railroad tracks, which did force motorists to find another way to get around. Repairs were also made to the railroad tracks on Foley Boulevard, which forced the closure of that roadway. That work is now done, and Hanson Boulevard is expected to reopen by the end of today. Now that's the good news, but now the bad news. Egret Boulevard will be closed at the double railroad tracks next week for similar repair work. If you've driven over the tracks there recently, you know it's pretty rough riding. Weather permitting, Egret Boulevard will reopen to traffic traffic by the end of next week. Rail safety has been front and center in Minnesota during recent months due to an increase in freight and oil trains.
This week, the railroad teamed up with first responders for a hazmat drill.
There's going to be a placard on all four sides. Why do you think they put a DOT hazmat placard on all four sides?
On Monday, the Minneapolis Fire Department trained with the BNSF Railway on how to best respond to a hazmat incident, including a crude oil spill. The train involved the identification of the different parts of a tank car and its contents. First responders also got to climb on top of the car for a closer look. Although this training has been done for years, the railroad has recently been focusing on oil transport.
The value of training with first responders and training with Minneapolis Fire Department is that ongoing relationship and communication is just absolutely very valuable. But in addition, they're familiar with the railroad and how a railroad operates and the equipment that moves on a railroad. And again, it's not just crude oil, it's a lot of different materials.
This kind of hazmat training is done across the entire BNSF railway network. In the past year alone, more than 1,000 firefighters have been trained in Minnesota.
The Anoka County Regional Rail Authority is planning to take advantage of low interest rates to refinance bonds used to pay for the North Star Commuter Rail project. At its last meeting, the Rail Authority approved a draft resolution allowing for the sale of $27.7 million in bonds, which covers both Anoka County and Sherburne County share of the cost. Refinancing the bonds is expected to save close to $2 million in interest. Anoka County has handed out its 2015 Public Health Recognition Awards. Dr. Abdul Hussein Nathani was honored for his volunteer work providing medical services to people at the Stepping Stone homeless shelter in Anoka. A second award was given to a group of healthcare professionals from the Alina Health Clinic in Fridley for their work providing physicals and health screenings to refugees moving into the community. And Jim Hafner, the Stormwater Manager and Wellhead Protection Manager for the City of Blaine, received the final award for his leadership efforts to protect and manage local water resources. Still to come on CTN News, some of the world's best curlers gathering in Blaine for a weekend fundraiser.
Plus, District 11 officials voicing concerns about education funding this legislative session.
I just hope they can keep on giving, because I don't know what'll happen otherwise.
Also ahead, a popular food delivery program for low-income seniors in Anoka County faced with funding challenges. Details coming up.
And an Olympic ice skater glides into Coon Rapids for a special performance. Stay with us.
CTN News. Steve Erickson, Karen Savanich, your local edge.
Did you know the lion's sense of vision is so powerful, it actually enables nearby creatures to see better? Here we see lions assisting the offspring of others, while their parents are elsewhere in the wild. Brilliant, isn't it? Making the wild kingdom look much better indeed. Do good, be a lion.
The 2015 4th of July celebration is moving from Sand Creek Park to Coon Rapids Boulevard. Enjoy rides, games, bingo, and music on the grounds of the Coon Rapids Ice Center. Watch the parade along Mississippi Boulevard. For complete details, visit coonrapidsmn.gov.
The Anoka-Hennepin School District is bracing for possible budget cuts in future school years.
It all hinges on the current outcome of the legislative session, which is heading into the home stretch. District 11 officials say they need a 4% increase on the general education formula in each year of the biennium, but currently the House, Senate, and Governor are proposing a 1% or less increase each year. That could mean anywhere from a $4.8 to an $8 million deficit in 2016 and a $14.4 to almost $17 million deficit in 2017. A referendum is one option to make up the shortfall. The legislative session is scheduled to end on May 18th.
In November, we told you about a program that delivers boxes of donated food to low-income seniors throughout Anoka County. But organizers at the ACBC Food Shelf in Anoka say that could end soon. CTN's Joe Nelson has the details.
In the past year, Dolores Yanko of Coon Rapids has saved time, money, and efforts through the store-to-door program.
Well, they call you and ask you what you need.
We have volunteers that box the food up and volunteers that get it ready for delivery.
The ACBC Food Shelf in Anoka has been coordinating the program since early last year. It delivers up to 28 pounds of food each month to the homes of 56 low-income seniors at no charge.
There's a lot of people that can't get to the store and they have very little to live on. So it means a great deal to them.
ACBC Food Shelf Manager Jerry Lockery says the program feeds an underserved population who often won't seek out help.
They typically aren't out there utilizing services the way younger people are.
Store to Door has been funded by a state grant through the Department of Health, but Lockery says that money will soon be off the table.
The funding is, of course, going away on June 30th, and we just discovered that.
Well, it makes you sick to think that they're going to stop it because I don't know what a lot of people are going to do.
With the grant money going away soon, ACBC is asking for donations to keep delivery vans rolling.
When you think about who we're serving, people's grandmas, great-grandmas, grandpas, these people need food. And I think, you know, nobody should go hungry, and these seniors deserve better than that.
It's going to be devastating for a lot of people if they can't get it. And whatever they can give, every little bit counts.
Each monthly delivery amounts to $12, a price many who use it can't afford. To make a donation to keep Store to Door going or to volunteer your time, go to acbcfoodshelf.org. Steve and Karen?
All right, well, let's hope they're able to raise some money to keep it going.
Yep, helps a lot of people.
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks.
Skaters, both young and old, took to the ice last weekend in Coon Rapids. The 26th annual Ice Fantasy Show actually made its debut April 23rd with shows 4 days in a row. This is video from Saturday night's performance at the Coon Rapids Ice Center. The annual tradition showcases skaters from Coon Rapids and the surrounding area. Over the weekend, the crowd got a special treat with a performance from 2010 Olympic skater Mirai Nagasu. She also won a bronze medal at the 2014 U.S. Championships. Local first responders will hit the ice this weekend for a charity hockey game at the Coon Rapids Ice Center. The puck drops Saturday at 12:45 p.m. The Guns N' Hoses team will face off against hockey players from Legacy Christian Academy in Andover. It's the fourth straight year for the charity game, which raises donations for the ACBC Food Shelf in Anoka.
Some Olympians will be in town this weekend raising money for a good cause. The Four Seasons Curling Club is hosting the Lupus Spiel USA tonight, Saturday, and Sunday. It's a pro-am curling tournament combining world-famous skips with 3 amateur players. The amateurs raise money to pick their curling team captain. All games are free and open to the public, and all of the money raised will benefit the Lupus Foundation of Minnesota. Last year's event raised more than $20,000.
A new installment in the Avengers franchise hits the big screen this weekend. Howie Shapiro has a preview in this week's Now Showing.
This vulnerable world needs something more powerful than any of us.
Everyone creates the thing they dread.
Ultron in the flesh.
No matter who wins or loses, trouble always comes around.
Avengers, Age of Ultron. Tony Stark tries to jumpstart a dormant peacekeeping program. Things go awry, and it is up to the Avengers to stop the villainous Ultron from enacting his terrible plans.
We can tear them apart. From the inside.
That's the best you can do!
You had to ask. I'm Howie Shapiro, and that's what's showing.
All right, thanks, Howie. I imagine that will do pretty well this weekend.
I think there's some people following the series.
Yes.
Definitely. Thank you, Howie, and thank you for watching. Be sure to join us again next week.